What's up, everybody? We are back for another Who Are They Real Talk. Once again, I am Matt. This is the co-founder himself, Nick, the Underdog Moblock, and we are here ready to go.
I'm wearing that shirt right underneath this, but I got cold. I got cold, so I'm not repping the merch today. Right now, I'm repping a hot heating pad thing on my knee that my mother told me to stick in the microwave for 3 minutes, and well, it's burning my leg. Anyways, we are here today. Joining us today is an incredible filmmaker local to the area, person that I have made friends with over the past couple of years. We've worked on plenty of projects together and learned about different stuff when it comes to filmmaking along the way. Mr. Tyler Thomas.
Hey guys.
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Just got off work, ready to go.
And remember, everybody who's watching right now, if you have any comments for Tyler, questions for Tyler, make sure that you leave them. We'll pop them on the screen, and he'll be able to answer anything for you. Tyler, let's start off by talking about your experience in the film community. You had said that you had been involved for about 3 years or so. What got you involved with the filmmaking community?
Yeah, so I have actually been interested in filmmaking really my entire life, but you know, I'm not as young as you guys. So when I was young, making a film really required tons of money, and we just, you know, it was just impossible. So then I was very active in theater. And choir and that kind of thing. And then when I went to college, you know, again, kind of I thought about it, but it just seemed like kind of a pipe dream. I mean, I grew up relatively lower middle class, I guess. And I wasn't willing to take any chances. I needed to do something where I knew I could get guaranteed to make a living. And so I went the technical route, and I'm in computer science. And then I had still kind of toyed around with ideas for a long time, probably even 10 years, where I was like writing scripts and stuff, and I would like start, but I kind of got stuck because I was always trying to make things perfect. And I would get to a certain point, and then I'd be like, this sucks, it's not good enough, and I would start over. And I have a couple friends, BJ Halsall and Vern Adams, who are both in the 48s, and they at one point were talking to me about it. And so I was like, well, it seems like a way to get started, right? And little did I know that like that was honestly revolutionary for me, because you know, I went to a mixer, and I got to meet Nick Fiorella, and I had all I told Nick was that, yeah, when I was in high school and college, I did plays. And I don't know if it was my look or whatever, they decided to cast me in their film that summer. And so I got to play a janitor. I was a Russian janitor at this film they did for the 48 called, what was it called? Karma. And a lot of people liked it. It was a very well done movie. And then so that was my first experience with the 48. And then around Halloween time, I came and I said, hey guys, I'd really like to be interested. In fact, I'd like to even be more involved. Can I help write or whatever? And they decided not to do it. And so I just said, screw it, I'm going to form my own team. And so I got a bunch of friends together. And I remember being scared out of my mind. Like a week before, I was really thinking of withdrawing, because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's going to be horrible. And then I said, you know what? So what? You know, like, I made a bad movie. Who cares, right? So we all did it, and I got a group of friends together. We made it, and we finished it. We finished it on time. And some people, I don't know, some people have told me that they really liked it. Technically, it's horrible. I mean, really bad. But the storyline was kind of good, I guess, and some people liked it. And we got a couple nominations. We got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor, and I think one for a nomination for Best Visual Effects, which at the time I'm like, oh wow, but we didn't win anything. So then we've been doing 48s ever since. I think I've done like maybe 7 or 8 48s. And then in between that, I've been doing some stuff on my own. So I've shot, I think, 3, I think, short films that were longer, like in the 20-minute range. And they've gotten into the first one that I did got into a couple film festivals. The second one got into a couple more. Haven't won any awards at film festivals yet. Just the technical progression just keeps getting better. And then the last 48 we did was the Global 48 last summer, and we won 3rd place, which is the best that we've done. So you keep working at it, and you between listening to people, working on other people's projects, you just start learning, and it's a path. You're never going to go in, no matter how creative or bright you are, you're never going to go in and have a good film, your first film. But you just keep learning and you get better, and that's where I am. And so now I finally decided to make my first feature film.
Yeah, and nice. Want to tell us a little bit about that feature film, because that is a treacherous experience alone. Just getting started. Where do you go? How do you get there? So what was the process of getting to the point of making this
feature? So I felt like because I felt like technically now I'm at the point where I can make a good movie, that I felt like I was ready, and I just decided to start writing a script. And for those of you that aren't familiar with my work, I am a gay man, and so my films are very heavily LGBT based. I think I've made maybe 1 or 2 films that weren't LGBT based, but they're not like what you would call gay films, right? They are typically genre films, horror, action, that just happen to have gay characters in it. And so I guess you would call them gay films. So I particularly like the kind of thriller genre. I've done a couple of my own projects and a couple 48s on those genres. And I decided I wanted to do a thriller. And I wanted it also to be a message movie. I really wanted to deliver a message about what it's like being gay and finding justice in the gay community. And so I kind of decided that I was going to do this idea of a serial killer. And so the script I started writing the script, I think in maybe August, I think. And to be completely honest, I read it again today from back to back, and I still made a couple little changes, just language changes.
That's what always happens.
Oh yeah.
So 6 months later, 7 months later, I'm still tweaking it, but it's now done. And the storyline is there is a serial killer in Cleveland. And the serial killer is killing gay men. And the cop that's in charge of stopping him happens to also be gay. And so he's dealing with, the main impetus of the movie is trying to stop the serial killer. At the same time, he's dealing with homophobia on the force. And he has an ex-lover that he's trying to help through some addiction issues. And his own life has been kind of neglected over the years, and he's just trying to get his life back on track. So it's an exciting movie. It has definitely some scenes that are going to make the audience jump out of their seats. And it also has some good drama moments. And it delivers, I think, a message that I think people need to hear.
That's always important when it comes to a film, especially when it comes to minorities, whether that be minorities of color or minorities of sexual preference. It's just one of those things that you don't get a lot of, and that's why you see people in this industry fighting for more of it. So
Yeah.
it's always refreshing to see films like this being made, even if it's at a smaller scale, because it's all someone who's like a mentor to me who we actually had on last week. We were talking earlier this week. He's like, it's all about the baby steps, and the baby steps lead to more progress.
Yep, I agree.
And you just got wrapped up with the casting process, or at least holding auditions and stuff like that. Was that your first time holding auditions, and how did things go, especially in this virtual setting that we're currently in?
So, yeah, so this is my first time actually going through casting. Like up until now, I've basically just reached out to friends and said, "Hey, let's make a movie," and some good acting friends too. So I've had the fortune of working with some really talented people in Cleveland, but this was just it was too big to do that, right? Like there's 27 speaking roles. And so I needed to like, okay, who's out there that's interested in working on this? And so there was initially, like I put out an audition form, and there was probably about 60 people that initially expressed interest. But then when it came down to actually like auditioning, like scheduling an appointment and showing up, then we were down to like about 30 people. So we have the cast is just about complete. In fact, I spent today sending out emails to everybody, letting them know what part they had gotten. And there's actually 2 parts still that I wasn't able to find anybody that could kind of meet it. And so that I have people in mind. I'm just going to reach out to them and say, hey, this is a small part. It'll take 1 shoot. Would you mind filling in for this? So hopefully by, tomorrow, the whole thing will be cast.
That's really cool. I know that holding the auditions virtually is certainly just a different experience and such, because you do get a lot of auditions via video either way, but having them all obviously have to go through that audition process has to be for sure different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like because I've never done it the other way, I actually liked it. I did say, so a few people wanted to just send me a video, and I kind of discouraged that. A couple people did, but I wanted to like interact, and I wanted to be able to say, could you try doing it this way? Because I think that gives you the experience of seeing how you might work with that person, and they get to see how you direct, and that way you both kind of get the feel of, yeah, this will be a good relationship, or no way, this isn't going to work.
So you did all, for the most part, all of them basically via Zoom for the most part.
Yep.
Because I know we had an actor tell us he's like right now in acting, this is the maker. This is able to give someone their big break, because at the end of the day, you're now having the opportunity to get the scene right. And he's like, and then they can give you feedback, and you can try it that way. And so just hearing the other side of it makes this even more interesting, because I don't know if a lot of people are doing it the way you are. A lot of people have moved to just, here are the pages. Film yourself doing these pages, and let's see what happened. You get an idea, and then you do callbacks and so on and so forth, and work your way up to that meeting and seeing how things go.
Yeah. So the way I did it was, I don't know, this might be a little bit unique. So what I did is I asked everybody that auditioned to do 2 monologues. One of them where they were getting angry to the point of actually ready to physically fight somebody, and the other one where they were sad to the point of like tearing up. And the reason that I picked that is, not every character in the movie has to do that, but those are very prominent emotions throughout the script, right? And it gives you a range to see what people can do. From there, then, there was probably, I don't know, maybe half the roles where I was like, boy, there's two or more people that I could easily see fitting this role. So then I actually found like a 2-page section of the script, sent it to them, and I actually asked them to memorize their lines because a lot of the people were people that I had never worked with, and I didn't know anybody who had worked with them. So it was a way of kind of getting some commitment, seeing if they were really interested, how much they really want to be involved.
Yeah.
And, they had to show up on time. They had to have their parts memorized. And everybody who auditioned, who got to that second level, every one of them did a great job. They all had their lines memorized. They were clearly rehearsed. It just built a little trust on my part that I could count on.
James Gappy Burney, showing some love in the chat. Hey, James, thank you for watching. And Johnny, thank you for watching as well.
So James is playing the lead role of Leviticus.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
He
great.
did a fantastic job with the audition, and I've always been a big admirer of his work, and I'm really excited to work with him.
Good. Yeah. So Love and Murder, that is a project that just got made. I was able to be on set for one day of it, and it was an incredible experience. Lots of cool things going on. Can you talk a little bit about that project? Because I believe it's online right now, correct?
It isn't, because it's currently in the film festival run. What I did was I wanted to share it right away because I just thought it was a cool movie. So I put it out on YouTube for a couple of weeks, and then I withdrew it.
Okay.
I put it, it's going through the film festival circuit now. But so Love and Murder is a story about, again, a genre film, definitely kind of a more in the, it's a weird movie, right? Like, it's got a lot of genres in there. So this is kind of like a warning. If you don't want to hear about any spoilers, then maybe cover your ears. The movie starts out as clearly what is a thriller. Like, you see that this guy is going to murder these two gay guys, and midway through, it turns into a comedy. So it's a fun movie, and I was really proud of it. I thought we got Nick involved, we got Scott Brocious involved, we had Johnny Woo involved. It was really just a fun experience working with all of you guys and just seeing what we could all create together. So thanks, Nick.
Oh, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, Scott plays the killer and has those crazy eyes on himself throughout the entire thing, and it's nuts. But no, it's definitely a funny experience. Now, you've done a lot of acting for other projects before, a lot of White Midnight productions with Scott. Tell us a little about your experience working and acting and such, because you do a lot of acting. You do a lot of acting, for sure.
Yeah, probably not as much, honestly, as I would like. But so anybody that's listening that wants to cast me, probably not until this movie is over. But after that, I'm always open to be cast. So so I was really involved in theater when I was in high school. So I was actually the kid that everybody hated. So in starting in 11th grade, I had every lead from 11th grade on to the end to the
Right.
And by the end of it, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I hate him." And so I have a lot of experience. And then I got cast in the Fiorello Brothers movie, and I hadn't acted in 30 years. And I was definitely rusty. When I look at that movie, I'm like, oh, really? I'm kind of flat, but okay. And then I got cast. Scott Brocious cast me in a movie of his called Moscow Mule. And I kind of think Scott cast me primarily because I'm like, it would become known as the gay director in Cleveland. He was making a gay movie, so he cast me. And it was a lot of fun, and it was something that I could really relate to on an emotional level. And so I think people really enjoyed that movie. And then right after that, Scott kind of got to see that, oh, he actually can really act. And so he was doing this movie called the vampire movie, Harbinger of Dracul.
Yes.
And so he asked me if I would play the lead vampire hunter. And so I was all about that. That was a lot of fun. And then I got cast. Next was in Johnny Woo's movie, the one he's working on now,
Wu Lin.
And it's a tiny little part. I think I have 3 lines. I play the neighbor. But it was still fun. And of course, it's fun to get to be cast in a Johnny Woo movie, of course. And then Scott did a Christmas movie, a real short Christmas movie. I think it's like 5 minutes long or something. And he asked me if I would play a like his Santa Claus kind of backup or whatever. So that was kind of fun. That's it. That's all I've done in the past 3 years. So,
very nice.
And it sounds like you definitely want to do more. So what type of roles are you looking to play? Is there anything in particular that you've always wanted to play? Or are you really down for anything?
I am. I mean, probably the one part I wouldn't probably play is that I probably wouldn't play anything that's homophobic. But besides that, or racist or anything like that. But besides that, yeah, I'm up to just about anything. In fact, I actually have a pretty wide range. I can play, I can be a character actor. I can do anything. So yeah, anybody needs some dude with a huge beard, just hit me up.
I mean, it seems like huge beard and huge personality at this point, honestly.
Absolutely.
I'm just huge. Have you seen these guns?
I mean, I think I have in like Nick's Instagram and Snapchat posts, so I wouldn't be shocked.
I was going to say, so you are also involved in the behind the scenes side of a lot of different projects, camera wise and editing wise and stuff like that. I know that you've learned editing under Johnny and different camera techniques and stuff like that. So what has it been like to kind of advance those skills along? Because obviously you had said that you came into this later on, but I definitely can tell, obviously, that you've learned so much as to how things have been going.
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly been really lucky. I pretty early on, just sheer luck, I happened to I knew who Johnny was, of course, because, everybody in Cleveland knows Johnny. And so I was friends with him on Facebook, and he had put this post that he was doing an editing class. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to learn. I mean, I knew how to edit, but like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I taught myself. And so, so that was a really good experience. And then from there, it kind of expanded into other areas where he was teaching us like how to use the camera and stuff. And everything that I knew got me to a certain level, but like, you need some training. And so Johnny like took me to like this next level. And then I got to work Scott Brocious after I'd gotten to act with him. He asked me if I wanted to do a film. And I said, I wouldn't mind doing some crew work too. And so he put me on as a cameraman on his first Vile movie, the short. And then I also did, I think, 3 other ones. I think I worked both as a cameraman one time. I think I worked as a sound guy. And so all of that, through that, Scott's coaching me, right? So I get to learn more. And then probably, honestly, the biggest learning experience, and I don't know if Johnny realizes this, is Johnny had me work as a cameraman on Wu Lin a lot. right? Like I was probably on maybe 12 shoots, right? And it was almost every weekend or every other weekend I was doing camera work.
Yeah.
And I was getting coaching, and it was just that repetition where I started, like I felt like I was getting good at it, like not just passable, like no, I'm good. And so, you know, it's funny now. I'm like, whenever I see like the trailers for Johnny's movie, I'm like, I did that one. That was
That's always the best feeling. Being able to definitely remember, because there's so many camera people on those movies, and being able to actually pinpoint what you did has to be exciting for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, pinpointing whatever you've done in any movie is always exciting. I remember, Nick, when we did your screening for Fast and Furious 8, that big group, you're like, I was there for that. I was there for that. I was there for that.
It's saying a lot because that's mixed in with so many different shots and such. So the I know that the Blackmagic camera is your go-to. Like, was that always the camera that you wanted to work with, or because I know that Johnny's probably had you work with the GH5 before. I remember my first experience with the GH5 and then going to that Blackmagic camera. I was like, oh my goodness, how is anybody not using this thing? It's fantastic.
Which one you like better, the Blackmagic?
Oh, for sure. The 4K is amazing. Yeah.
From what I hear, it's more user friendly for those novices.
Yeah. And so my experience with the Blackmagic, now I love the results of the Blackmagic, right? And it is easy to use. The user interface is good. What I don't like about the Blackmagic is it always feels like you're building a camera, like you just bought a $2,000 camera, and then you have to get a cage to put on it because the battery life sucks. So you got to get an external battery. And then if you're doing RAW, you can't put a card into it. So you got to stick a drive. It's just like by the time you've put all this shit on it, it's like, wow, I spent $2,000 and now I build a camera at home. Right? So that's part I don't love about it, but wow, like the dynamic range, its ability to shoot at night is incredible, low light, and it's beautiful. The image is just beautiful.
Johnny here saying,
I have done some other things. You're okay. LOL, you helped a lot. Thanks, Johnny. Now, Johnny, if you were only on here, you could tell everybody, yeah, I used almost all of Tyler's footage because it was excellent. So mostly I've used the Blackmagic. Before I used the Blackmagic, I did have a Panasonic camera. It was not a GH5. And then during classes, Johnny did have us experiment with the GH5, and I remember going back and forth whether I was going to get GH5 or I was going to get Blackmagic. I ended up going with the Blackmagic just because I just love the way it looks at the end.
Yeah, it definitely does look fantastic.
No, you gotta respect that. Technical stuff is always the most fun because it's like playing with a new toy almost. You're like, it's like Christmas every day. Like, oh, I got this new toy. Let me buy all the other accessories and I can get this to work.
And it just goes on and on, right? It's like, and then at one point, you know, Johnny was talking about, I still remember this post that Johnny said he bought an anamorphic lens. I'm like, you know how expensive anamorphic lenses are? And he's like, no, there's this new company. They're making them reasonably cheap. And so then, you know, Love and Murder, we shot entirely with anamorphic lenses.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, those anamorphic lenses are beautiful. I keep forgetting the company, but if Johnny's watching, he'll be able to. But you have one yourself, right? I believe
it's Sirius or something like that.
Siri lenses. There's the 50 millimeter and the 35, and it is incredible to work with. It's like you work with these different camera pieces. It's like you never want to go back to working with other certain things.
Yeah, well, I haven't used it yet. I just got it. I now have the 25 millimeter too.
Okay. I did not know that they even did a 25.
Trying to flex on everyone real quick. Huh?
So I haven't gotten to play with it. The only difference is, so both the 35 and the 50 are both they have an f-stop of 1.8, I think, and this one only has an f-stop of like 2 point something. So it's not as good in low light. But I was just afraid for the feature film that I might be shooting in some pretty tight areas, and plus, there is a certain look that you get from a wide angle lens, especially in like a horror type movie, that I thought I could probably use it. And I could have used a non-anamorphic lens and, cropped it, but I'm like, but it's not anamorphic and it does look different. So I don't know. We'll see if I'm going to end up really liking it or not. We'll see.
Got to use get all those lens flares in there and such. It's so funny to me watching back some of the footage that we shoot with those anamorphic lenses and just seeing where all the lens flares pop up and such. It's definitely a different style. But again, it's like you never want to go back to using anything else, right?
I love it, and to me it just feels more cinematic. I mean, beyond the fact that the lens flare is definitely cool, and I like the way that the blurriness is just different. The blurriness in the background, the bokeh, it's a different look. I can't. It's more like rounder or something. It's a totally different, but in my mind, prettier and more cinematic look. But I like the wider screen, right?
Yeah.
It gives you you can fit so much more in a single shot without having to pull the camera back.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's beautiful what you can actually pull off with those types of cameras. We also have Scott Morrison in the comments. Looking forward to working with you on your first feature-length film.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to working with you. I'm really excited to work with you. I'm just honored that you're willing to work with me. So thank you.
And yeah, the Cleveland film community, what can you say other than the fact that it's just, we all like to help each other out on all types of projects. I know I'm looking forward to being a part of the production as well. And so when it comes to finding you, social media, YouTube, I know that you have a lot of different short films up on the Brutal Flowers. I guess we should have mentioned that from the beginning. The Brutal Flowers is your company. And where can everybody find you at when it comes to social media and different places?
Yeah, so Brutal Flowers Films is on YouTube. We also have a Brutal Flowers Films Instagram page, and I probably am going to be, so the new short film is called, or I'm sorry, the new full-length feature film is called Leviticus, and I probably will be creating a page just for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it came to Brutal Flowers, how did you come up with a name like that?
Yeah, so I get asked that a lot. It's kind of like a silly thing, but so while we were making 48s, we had to come up with a team name, and at the time, every single person who was on the set was gay, and so it was just one of those weird things where we're like, well, we may be flowers, but we're not pansies, and so that's where
Well, I remember we were filming Love and Murder. Oh, Matt. Matt, I can't. Could you hear Matt?
I can't.
My mic was muted.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He said that, and I automatically thought of Robin Hood Men in Tights. We may look like pansies, but tell us that, and we'll put out your lights.
Well, I was gonna say, because on set of Love and Murder, we had blood splatter everywhere, and everybody was like pointing to the flowers in the garden, going, "Look, Tyler, brutal flowers! They were created."
There you go.
It's a great picture for your intro or something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
Douglas says, very informative interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so much for watching.
So Douglas plays. Douglas is somebody that was actually kind of new to me, and he auditioned and he blew us away. So Johnny and Scott were there when we auditioned him, and he was fantastic. So Douglas plays our serial killer.
Oh, all right. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's like
Okay.
people within the film community obviously supporting
Yeah.
you and your time to shine, and we appreciate everybody who's in the film community for watching the interview. And Matt, I don't know if you have any other questions or comments. Matt, you're muted again.
He's answered he's answered, my mic's acting up. He's answered any question I've had with when he's talking. That's the thing. So I'm like, here comes the answer. It's like, well, never mind.
But Tyler, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Like I said, we'll put any of the social medias and such in the bio, but Instagram and YouTube is primarily where people can find you.
Yeah. Yep. You can find me personally on Facebook. So it's Tyler N. Tyler _N _Thomas, or you can look at Brutal Flowers on YouTube, Brutal Flowers Films, and Brutal Flowers Films on Instagram.
Yeah. And, remember, everybody, if you have any roles that you are looking to cast Tyler in, he is down.
That's
very, very eager to see you in different projects, because I always like it when you pop up as an actor. But am very, very excited for Leviticus. I think that it's going to be a fantastic project just from everything that I've been able to experience with you so far. So thank you again for coming on to the show and taking part in an interview with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And obviously,
Johnny has a question.
Ah.
So what is currently the most challenging thing during your feature film planning?
What I've found is, so in my real life, my work life, I am what's called a domain architect. So I work with developers, programmers to kind of put together whole systems, and I kind of architect the whole thing. So my job requires a ton of organization. And so it's very similar in that both jobs really don't really require any one thing that's like, oh my God, that's so hard. It's just, there's so much of it, right? Like there's so many things to do, and trying to stay on top of everything and like, okay, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? And finding the right people to help. I mean, it was, casting turned out to be relatively easy, and finding people who can help with like the camera and the sound, that's relatively easy. Finding people who want to do paperwork, not so easy, right? Like nobody wants to do that. So right now I'm the one that's doing all that, which is fine. I can do it, but just trying to stay on top of everything and stay organized is challenging.
And if anybody else has any other questions or such, Johnny has another comment. I don't know, Tyler just knows he's brutal. Brutal flowers.
When Johnny comes on the show in comment form.
Don't mess with me.
But Tyler, thank you again. We're going to transition into our news talk, so you're more than welcome to join us for that.
I mean, there's only one thing I put on this, and I know you and I talked about it a little bit earlier, and I'm just gonna blast. Like, I'm just gonna go on a rant. So I don't know if he wants to be here for that.
Okay, actually, believe it or not, this is so sad to tell you, but I actually go to bed at 8:00, and I wake up at 5. I wake up at 5:00. I need 9 hours of sleep because I'm 56 years old.
You don't look like it, sir. You do not look like it.
I wake up at 5 in the morning and I get my workout in before work. So I'm already way past my bedtime. So I am going to stop. Thank you both very much. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for helping me with my film.
Pleasure to have you on, sir.
Love you guys, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Real soon.
We'll definitely have you on when it comes closer to time, being in production and following up throughout the stages of it, because we normally do that. I know we were talking to the guys who did Pandemonium about that, actually. So
awesome. That sounds great.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
We really appreciate having you on, and make sure you get a good night's sleep.
That sounds good. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Bye-bye.
And now moving on from something sweet and innocent to Matt's going to rant his head off, and Nick may actually join him for once.
I mean, of course, but let's calm down. We're here. You know, we just had a great interview.
We're here.
We want to keep the viewers that we have engaged.
But this is irresponsible. San Diego Comic-Con is coming back for a special edition, and it's during Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes. Hey, we have a lot of different new viewers. Let's not swear too much.
I'm not going to swear. This is so irresponsible. It's disrespectful. It's disingenuous, and it shows people only care about money. That's what this shows. Because we've been in a pandemic for over a year now, or just a little bit over a year. People haven't been able to see their families and spend time with loved ones. And what may be the first real chance to do that without masks, you're throwing a Comic-Con that weekend? Are you serious?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I will agree with you. I agree with you a lot of times. But if I don't agree with you, then there's no discussion. But at the same time, yes, this does feel like an odd move on their end. It's like, you know, I mean, I guess there's two sides of it. Does it mean maybe we're out of the woodwork a little bit? I don't know. I would assume that there's some cap limit on the amount of people that are allowed to go.
They're looking at 100,000 again.
Oh my goodness. And even so, we don't even know where we'll be at that point. That could be a good number. That could not be a good number. I don't know. That's not the point of this discussion. The point of the discussion is it does feel a little bit weird that they would be holding Comic-Con so close to a holiday. There are plenty of
the day after.
Exactly. There's plenty of better times to be doing this, because it's not like, as somebody had brought up to me when it was discussed that, you know, you can just board a plane like right after Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, it doesn't entirely work like that. You want to get there earlier because it's all the festivities start on Friday. You want to get there earlier to actually be a part of the experience of Comic-Con and such. It, like I said, it doesn't make any sense to me as to why they're doing this. I couldn't imagine guest-wise that people would really enjoy this, but I guess guest-wise, they have the freedom to book a flight wherever they want and go there and all that and such. To me, it just feels as though they could have picked a better date. And I don't know. I haven't really seen the social media reaction to it.
It's been getting flamed. It's been getting panned. I love it.
I mean, and knowing how stuff like that works, and knowing that, as you say, money is a big driving factor in this, they'll probably end up moving the date because they're going to want people to go. You know what I mean? They're going to want to be able to book guests who probably are going to be feeling a certain way about certain things.
It's like, and here's the thing. I think that what as someone who's a con goer, whenever they get the chance, it really pisses me off because it's trying to make people choose between their family and the thing they love to do. Mm-hmm. Like that's what it feels like to me. So that's why I'm even more mad than I probably should be.
And it's like, I would definitely prefer, because I was discussing it. I mean, we discussed it as a group before, that this is something that we would love to cover or go to just to experience it, let alone covering it, because this isn't something that we've been able to do, especially for so long. It's like the eagerness to be able to do something like a Comic-Con or even a Wizard World or even something small as locally here like a Nyan-Con or something like that feels like we it feels like the first opportunity that we get is the wrong opportunity. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And as people, as both of us definitely enjoy Comic Cons and such, like the eagerness to want to go is that, I personally, literally, the moment that I read it this morning, I went, nope, don't want to go.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like, I can see why people would argue.
It's like part of you wants to go, and then the other part of you is like, nope, this just feels wrong. It feels wrong on so many levels.
No doubt about that. And if you guys have opinions on Comic-Con and such, make sure you leave them in the comments below.
I mean, I want to hear what Johnny has to say, because Johnny, what's up, Joe? Johnny is someone who actually has panels at conventions and whatnot.
It's a good experience to be able to obviously showcase your craft or showcase what you're doing.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, at the same time, I don't know. I wish that they would not do this, because the Comic-Con experience is so much fun and there's so much to it that I would definitely prefer for them to pick a different date, because it's something that I would want to go to eventually.
Yeah, it's and I was so glad to see reporters getting behind giving this the hatred it deserves, because let's not kid it around. This deserves every bit of vile it's getting. Like, it's just one of those things where you're just like, no, you shouldn't do this at all.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are people like, oh, just enough time for you to eat Thanksgiving dinner and then pack up with the family. It's like, no, that shouldn't be the thinking behind it. That really shouldn't, because
it really shouldn't. Go on, sorry.
Because at the end of the day, people shouldn't have to choose between their families and this. They shouldn't.
Well, it's not even that, and at least from my perspective, and I'm sure that you feel the same sentiment when it comes down to it, is that if this pandemic has taught us this pandemic has taught us a lot, whether it's good, whether it's bad. There's been a lot of bad there, but there has been good. And, I think one of the good things to come out of it is cherish the moments that you have with the people in your life, because you never know when something like this is going to happen. I'm sure that any pandemic, nobody expected, obviously.
Right.
It's like that. And, it's those moments with your family that you want to be able to cherish and enjoy. And Thanksgiving being one of the first major holidays after all these vaccinations are being rolled out. And again, we don't know where we're going to be at for them to even have announced this so soon. It was kind of a little bit weird that they were like, hey, understanding, yes, it is going to be as of tomorrow, 7 months away still. That's a while. I get that. But it's just like Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con in particular. This is like recently, and I'm not going to bring up the name, but we talked about it on WrestleReel. A wrestling company snuck in this wrestler who got Me Too to their card. What would make me want to go to that event if I see something like that? At the same time, I see it like this. It's like, what would make me want to go to this event if they're basically like, oh, well, your holiday, screw your holiday. You're coming to Comic-Con if you really want to. And I get it's the decision of the person to be able to go. But at the same time, I just feel like people shouldn't be enticed. There shouldn't be that moment where they have to second guess whether they want to eat Thanksgiving dinner with their family or go to Comic-Con. Because there's a lot of media people who have to cover it.
Exactly. And Drew McWeeny was one of those guys. And you know how much respect I have for Drew McQueen. He's like, I'm not choosing between Thanksgiving dinner and work. He's like, that's not right. I'm not. And at the same time, that is the point in time where a lot of people are, well, they lose a lot of money that weekend. That's the first weekend of Christmas shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
no doubt about it, COVID will still be around by that point, and that is 100,000 people is a hell of a lot of people to be fitting in one convention center so early.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you don't need to buy your friends and family Christmas gifts. Come to Comic-Con instead. It's fun.
And buy your friends and family more expensive Christmas gifts.
Exactly. I mean, granted, you might only be able to get them one thing now.
Yeah, but they'll be limiting everything because that's just the way that they are. And
Maddie Leach, also COVID will still be a thing. And that many people in one place is crazy to think about. Yeah.
Granted, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, we don't know where we're going to be at. That is still too many people, in my opinion. Hell, after all this, that's too many people for me to want to be in the same room.
Like, you want to know why I'll be fine going to Cleveland Comic-Con? Because it will probably not be till February or March, which is just enough time for me to feel comfortable going to a convention again.
And we'll see. You know, things are a ways away. This world that we live in is absolutely freaking insane. And who knows what will be the next problem that will arise. All I know is that the idea of people possibly being able or missing a family dinner or anything like that just seems like it's too much of a snafu to really even want to go to Comic-Con. Let it be known that, again, that still is a lot of people to be thinking about in the moment. 100,000 people is absolutely insane. I don't like that number so early, but that's just me being the nervous Nancy that I am. I bought a fidget cube, by the way.
Oh, I know. You're at my house.
It finally showed up in the... Oh, right, I was at Matt's when I bought it. It finally showed up in the mail. So, you know, I'm already nervous enough about things to want to go to a Comic-Con with 100,000 people in it. But again, that might just be me not wanting to be around that many people in general.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Because, like I said, that's just a crap ton of people. And if there's anything that I've learned...
I don't like people that much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Do I like going around? Like, do I like the press side of this stuff? Yes. I had fun last year with you interviewing Sam Levine and Phil Lamar and just talking.
All on the channel, by the way.
Yes, I was getting that. All of that's on the channel. You can go. Granted, it's probably buried by a million live streams, but you can find it. We
have playlists.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, all you gotta do is switch it to show oldest first instead of the newest. So
right, that's true.
But yeah, all that stuff you can find on the channel. Interview with people at the cons, groups. But that's not the point. That stuff is like reporters look forward to that stuff. Mm-hmm. So to basically tell the reporters, hey, guess what? You're gonna have to skip Thanksgiving and cover all this. No. Like, and I guess that's what really bugs me. Not even as a fan, but as someone who's trying to break into this business. You're telling me if I was working for Entertainment Week or Variety, yeah, by the way, you can't have you're not going to be able to do Thanksgiving with family. We're sending you to San Diego for Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. Excuse me? Like, I remember my dad, when he was covering the Cavs, how much he hated working Christmas games. Because there was one Christmas where he was in LA. He got up at 5 o'clock in the morning just so he can watch my brother and I open gifts over Skype. Mm-hmm. Like this is, it's the downside of being in this business, but so there are some things like Comic-Con which doesn't have to happen. You can wait again until next summer and do it regular. You don't have to have your special edition. This is unnecessary.
It certainly feels like that. But I hate ending on such a brutal note, no pun intended, to our incredible guest.
Yes.
Tyler Thomas, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the show. We are incredibly grateful to have had you on. And in the playback, please, everybody, go and support Leviticus. All the social medias and such will be in the description below right after the episode. And thank you so much for watching. We really just appreciate all kinds of new audience members and such being here for the show as the episodes are being blasted throughout Facebook to many different groups and such. Sometimes it can get lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
But if you did find us here today, we really appreciate you being here. If you're new to the channel,
175 subscribers.
That's very, very nice. Congratulations to everybody at Who Are They Real Entertainment, even though I'm congratulating myself technically in that situation, and maybe that's a little bit vain. But again, thank you, everybody, for being a part of this channel. We really appreciate it. The new format has kicked off to such a fun avail when it comes to the different guests that we're able to pull and such. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of it. Next week, we will be taking off due to the Easter
holiday.
But we will be back and are super excited for our next episode as I pull up our chart because we have so many different people that we have been able
we only have 2 episodes in it, of this show in April. Just a friendly reminder.
Yes.
Because on April 25th, that's the date for the Oscars this year. So we will be off having an Oscar party and all that fun stuff.
We might have like a pre-recorded interview.
Yeah, we might have a pre-recorded one. That's in the talks, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the show. So
I will acknowledge that we have a tentative guest for. I can't say who exactly is going to be a guest. For the 11th, because right now we're looking at a tentative schedule, but once we get it locked in, you definitely will see it in the thumbnail. It's still a few weeks away, so we're still trying to confirm a few things, and we also have previously booked guests for the 25th, so we might just move them to that spot if the other person can't be a part of the show. But again, we'll be back on the 18th, or the 11th. I'm sorry. We'll be back on the 11th with a show, with a guest, and we are incredibly grateful to have everybody here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, before we go, just the quick plugs. Thursday, Really Scared. I don't know what it is this week. I don't even know what movie they're talking about this week. Let me go to their schedule real quick. This week's guest is Davis Harmon, and they'll be watching the film Tourist Trap, which you can find on Tubi or Shudder. Friday is Wrestle Reel. Nick, I don't know what you guys have planned for Wrestle Reel this week, so if you want to tune anyone in.
We're in the process of talking to a couple of people being on the show. And yeah, we'll probably be back this Friday, whether it be pre-recorded or live with a guest. So we are super excited to be talking some wrestling. There's always different and exciting things happening in the wrestling world throughout the week.
Yeah. And lastly, tomorrow is Spin from the Reel, where Chris and I will once again be joined by Shug himself and a few other guests throughout the night. Schmodown fans, you'll have to watch and see. But we'll be talking about the stock exchange after the big week this past week. So
can you say that again? Because all everybody heard was the and the Finstock exchange.
I said the raging Finstock exchange
Yes.
and everything they've done this past week. But come out, check, see who we got coming on, because there's a few guests. So yeah.
Well, we are super excited for that. That is tomorrow night, Monday. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Tyler Thomas, for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And we will see you on the 11th.
Peace.
Adieu, adieu. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.